Okay, hi everybody. This is my replacement lecture for what we were going to do in class today, which was to begin our kinematics unit of study. Because we really have done gravity, which you all did a great job with. If you haven't submitted your labs yet, please make sure that you do that. So now we're really going to start talking about motion. And yesterday you watched two videos. One of the videos was about frame of reference, which could be a really, really cool topic. And I said this to the couple of people that I was able to communicate with in person or online today. So frame of reference is kind of cool because kind of puts us in that place of remembering that there's more to our understanding of motion than what we just study here on Earth. We're moving with the Earth. We're moving around the sun. We are moving through the galaxy. We're moving through the universe. And that idea of relativity and the idea that motion can be a relative thing to discuss is really kind of cool and kind of fascinating. It's not really going to be something we spend a lot of time with in the classroom here, but it's definitely a topic worth exploring, and people still are exploring it. For our purposes here, we're going to use the Earth as our frame of reference because we are moving with the Earth. And most of that will be easy, and for the most part, you really aren't going to have to talk about frame of reference a whole lot more in this class. If you can see behind me, this is where I'm like a newscaster. If you can see behind me, I have kind of a coordinate system set up. That when we're doing our descriptions of motion, we will be using a coordinate system. And we will either be using north-south, east-west, or positives and negatives. Positive motion being negative, positive motion being north or east, and negative motion being west or south, in order to kind of frame where we're talking about and make sure that we're all on the same page. And anytime we talk about a new motion set or a new motion problem, we use a little coordinate system to indicate that's where we're starting. All right, so that's really all you need about frame of reference. If you haven't done that Google form yet or watched the video, please make sure you do that so that I can give you credit for that. So the other one was scalar and vector. And really in science so far, you have measured scalar quantities. You have measured mass, you have measured displacement, you have measured, not displacement, distance. Maybe you've done some speed, you've definitely probably done temperature or displacement. And what I'm talking about displacement is like water displacement with a graduated cylinder. So really what you're doing is you're getting volume there. All of those measurements are scalar quantities, and they're useful. They're very useful quantities, but in physics we talk about vector quantities because it gives us a more complete description of motion. And it's really important because there's so many different motions happening at once that sometimes those vector quantities intersect and will affect the motion of an object in and of itself. So for instance, if you were playing, there used to be an iPad game where you would flick, like, I think it was called paper toss, right? And you would flick the paper into the wastebasket, but sometimes there was a fan. So you have a velocity going this way, but then the fan has a strong velocity this way, which means your paper is going to go this way. And if you don't kind of aim your paper that way, you might miss the garbage can. That's where vectors become important. So the long and short of it is that scalar quantities have magnitude. Magnitude will be a confusing word for you all year, not all of you, but some of you. And that's a normal thing that people get confused about. Magnitude means amount. It's a number. That's it. Magnitude is number. So if I say, what's the magnitude? I just want the answer in number form. A vector quantity has a magnitude, a number. It also has a direction. So here's the difference. Let's say I walk from here to here and it's 5 meters. My distance is 5 meters. Great. My displacement, my vector quantity, would be 5 meters to the west. I'm not sure if you're seeing a mirror image of that or not, so correct my direction if you need to. All right. So those vector quantities include the number, and they also include the direction. All right, what I wanted to do today was also to bring you in and talk a little bit about distance versus displacement. So I'm going to share my screen, and you all should have, not that, you all should have the PowerPoint. This is in your Google Classroom, okay? This is the lecture PowerPoint for chapter 2. And really, we've already gone through reference frames, and now what we're really talking about is what we call displacement, okay? So when, all right, I don't know why this is coming up funky, but I'm hoping you can all see this. When we're talking about displacement, what we're talking about is our change in position from where we started, okay? So distance is how far you travel. It's what your odometer in your car is going to read. Displacement is the shortest distance from start to finish for some kind of a trip. So if I were to leave here and I were to drive to Dunkin' Donuts, which I could really use today, I would have to go out of Kittatinny, I would have to make a left, and then I would have to go down by the Twin Bridges, and then I would have to go up Halsey Road and make a right, and then go down by the cop on North Park and all that kind of stuff. And I would travel some distance, let's call it 5 miles. If I wanted to find my displacement, I would leave from my car and I would take one line straight to Dunkin' Donuts. That would be my displacement. It's one vector line and it represents one, the shortest distance from start to finish for that trip, right? So let me show you a couple more examples. I'm going to go here. This is one of my PhET simulations, and I can use a couple different arrows here. So I'll show you some simple examples. We'll start there, and then I'm actually going to have you do an activity with this because I think it's important to understand the difference. So we'll spend the better time of the week on this. So let's say, whoops, I start at a position of 0, and then I walk 11 meters. My distance right now is 11 meters because that's where I started, and this is where I end, is at 11 meters. My displacement would be 11 meters to the right, or I could say positive 11 meters, right? If I were to walk the other direction from the same position, if you notice on my number line, now I have a negative, and all of a sudden negatives are going to have meaning for us. A negative means direction. So from where I started, and you can kind of see up here, I've moved along the x-axis negative 11 meters. My distance is only magnitude, so my distance is 11 meters. My displacement is going to be 11 meters west or negative 11 meters. Negative and west mean the same thing for us right now, okay? If I started and I moved that negative 11 meters, I'm sorry, positive 11 meters now. And then I went from there and I then traveled, let's say 7 more meters, all right? If I traveled 7 more meters, then my displacement from where I originally started would be my 11 plus 7, or my 18 meters. And that would be the distance. The displacement would be 18 meters to the east. If I put the sum value on here, you can see that blue arrow indicates the sum of my vectors. There we go. That's helpful, I think. There we go. And you can see the sum is your 18. So let's say now I did my 2 trips and then I realized I forgot something at home. So from where I started, and I'm only superimposing this below, I really should tack these on together, but I want you to see what's happening. So I started at my 18 meters, but now I went back here. Maybe I was looking for my coffee cup or something like that. That's not starting at 18 though. There we go. So then I went back here, okay? So what you can see happened is I walked my 11 meters, I walked my 7 meters, that was 18. And then I went 14 meters in the opposite direction, negative 14 meters. If I subtract that, that gives me a displacement of only 4 meters to the right. Okay, so the S, we're going to use a delta X. Some textbooks and simulations use an S. This is all confusing, but we're going to use an S for our displacement. All right. I'm going to clear this up, and I'm going to do one more example for you. So, oh no, the grid is way better. Let's say I actually start at negative 10. So what that means is this is where I've chosen as my arbitrary reference point, but I started to the west of that for some reason. And then I, from my negative 10 position, walked east 15 meters. Well, the distance I have walked is 15 meters. My displacement from where I started is actually 15 meters east or positive. But then I backtrack, and I'm going to fix this up here, sorry guys. From my 5 meters east, I'm going to move 20 meters west. Now what you can see is I started at the negative 10, now I'm ending at the negative 15, so it should make sense that, whoops, can't grab that, there we go. There we go. That my displacement is negative 5. And the reason I'm saying negative is because I started at negative 10 and I ended up to the west of where I started. Okay, my distance, the total amount of distance I actually traveled would have been, what is this? This is 15 plus 20, it would have been 35. I actually traveled 35 meters, but my displacement, my shortest distance from start to finish is 5 meters west. And that's represented by the S. If you notice, there's little arrows above these symbols to indicate that it's a vector quantity. Okay. We can do this with north and south too. If I wanted to change my axis a little bit, I could start at 0, and let's say I started at negative 10. I'm sorry, I started at 0 and I walked negative 10. And then from there, I walked north, or positive 15. What you can see is that our displacement, our shortest distance from start to finish, is going to end up being positive 5. And the reason it's positive is because it's 5 meters north of where I originally started. I basically backtracked up myself. If, in this leg of the trip, I went back to where I started, then my displacement is actually 0. Think about running around the track. You want to run a quarter mile around the track. You ran a quarter mile and you know it by the time you get back. That's the distance you ran. Your displacement is 0 because that's where you finished, right? I'm sorry, that's where you started and finished. If you guys are using this simulation, and I'm going to give you directions to get some different kind of go through some lab stuff with this week. I could also take a vector here because we don't always travel just north, south, east, and west. So let's say I'm using a nice 45-degree angle here. You can see the angles up here. So here I might say that I traveled 10 meters at 45 degrees north of west. I'm sorry, north of east. East being the positive x direction, north being positive y. For right now, if you just see the 45, that's great. If I wanted to take that trip and break it down into what's called components, I also could have gone straight over to the right 10 meters. Nope, sorry. if I did that, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, this vector here is 14.1. I'm sorry, guys. Each side is 10 meters, which makes more sense. Like that your hypotenuse should always be the greatest side here. So if I walked 10 meters east and then 10 meters north, I would have walked a total of 20 meters. That would be the distance I traveled. But my displacement would be 14.1 meters at 45 degrees. All right, hopefully this is making some sense. And you guys, eventually we're gonna play around with the lab and all that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna stop for there for now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you for today's lesson, today being, well, today's Tuesday that I'm recording, but for tomorrow's lesson for Wednesday, you can kind of watch this, get my quick lecture, and then I'm gonna give you a quick little activity to do using that simulation. So I'll link you in it. That way you can submit your answers. I will post that later on, and that will be your job to do tomorrow. So I hope that helps. And if you have questions, please, please, please let me know. And we're gonna make this work. But I have to stop recording first.